Welcome to the Purpose Effect, the space where we get honest, we get intentional, and we get aligned with the life God designed for us. I'm Alicia, leading Mondays podcast, and my co-host David does Wednesdays, and together we do Fridays. We are on a mission, and it's simple to help you stop floating through life and start living with purpose, clarity, and action. Okay, guys, happy Monday. Today, I am here to talk to you a little bit about our health. One of the things that David and I talk a lot about is the fact that when we live a purpose driven life, when we walk out the purpose effect, it is so much more than just mindset, but it's also really all areas of our life, right? Like more than just, okay, I got to make sure to be positive and all this. In order to really do that, in order to really walk out a powerful, healthy purpose and direction, living with intention, you really need to also focus on your health. Because what I have found is over the years, there were quite a few years that I didn't focus on my health, that I did not think it was that big of a priority. And because of that, it really affected a lot of other things. If you look at one of the things I tell people all the time is especially our gut health. Our gut is like our second brain. And when our gut is out of whack, everything else is going to be out of whack in our body, including our mind, right? Including our hormones, including which includes our emotions. I don't know about you guys, but over the years, I would oftentimes find myself like just all over the place with my emotions. And it's like 1 minute I'm fine, and the next minute I'm like, oh my goodness. And I went from 1 to 100 in like 5 seconds flat. Part of that was health related. Part of it was because I didn't have my health dialed in. And so it was hard to control things. So we want to, especially this week, give you some tools of how to live with purpose, but also how to help your body to live with purpose as well, right? So Friday, we have an amazing guest that will be sharing her story and her perspective. Her name is Jen, and she is spectacular. She's been a sweet friend of mine for the last few years, and so you do not want to miss Friday's episode because it's going to be powerful. We know, especially at this time of year with all the holiday foods and treats, I'll tell you, I have cheated a few times, and I feel like I'm paying the price for that by not really following some great tools and great strategies, which Jen will really go over on Friday. Okay, so let's get a little deep here. Let's get a little personal. And I started sharing just a little bit ago, sort of my experience, and I want to go back to that because I feel that I want you guys to know that where I am today is not where I was a few years ago. And I think that's always a powerful thing to understand and have perspective on. Instead of you guys going, oh, Alicia just has it all together. Oh, I didn't. I didn't. And in fact, it's still a journey, right? And I will always go back to that. And I know David does the same thing. We always go back to, hey, we're just taking you on this journey. We maybe are just a few steps ahead of you, but we are still on this journey. We are still walking through it ourselves. But a few years ago, I began to really realize, okay, I began to have a level of awareness that I did not have to feel the way I was feeling. I did not have to feel gross in my own body. Anybody else feel that way? Where you're just like, oh, I just don't even like being in my own body. Like this is, I like especially mom, when we have kids, they do a number on our body, right? So if I go back to, I think of what it was like to have a body that was just great and in shape when I was in my teens and 20s. And then as time goes on, I have kiddos, and now I'm into full-blown perimenopause and in my 40s. And so leading into that, I had really given up hope. I was just in this is the way it is. This is just how it's going to be. I had put on a lot of extra weight. I was tired all the time. Like by 2 o'clock, I could hardly keep my eyes open. I just wanted to sleep. It was so draining. I look back at pictures and I realize that I constantly was wearing hoodies and baseball caps, which nothing wrong with that. I still wear them. In fact, I'm wearing a hoodie today, but I didn't wear them because I wanted to. I wore them because I felt I needed to. I needed to hide the body that I was in, that I was so uncomfortable in. And what's interesting is I think about that and the process that my body has gone through over the last 20 years. Here's a powerful thing I just want you to keep in the back of your mind, right? Because I don't know if I'll really address this part. Even when I was in my teens and 20s, I didn't feel comfortable in my own body. Now, that I truly attribute more to mindset and lack of identity, and not knowing that my identity wasn't based on how I look and appearances. So I think there is two different things. And so what I really am focusing on today is the health side, is how just physically I just felt drained. I will I am not by any means like versed in anything scientific or medical. That's not my jam. I know my giftings, and knowing that data is just, it's like one in one ear, out the other. So I'm not going to be able to share a whole lot of that stuff with you, which you will get more of that on Friday. I just want to share my story with you and the experience and what I was walking through, because I am not that unique. I am not that different from everybody else. There are many of you out there that are feeling the same way. You are uncomfortable in your own body. You are frustrated. No matter what you do, you can't lose weight. Or when you do lose the weight, you very quickly put it back on. And that was one of the things that I was beginning to notice as I sort of moved into my 30s, is I would lose weight and then very quickly, like I would do a quick little fad diet, drop some weight, and very quickly put it back on, no matter what I did. So being able to sort of learn some powerful things, learn some knowledge that's really helped me to keep it off has been a game changer. But in that, what it did to my mindset, what it did to how I just went about my day was also powerful. And I think that this is something I really want to incorporate in this episode, is for you guys to be aware of how you feel in your body is also going to affect how you go about your life. They do correlate. You cannot tell me that they're not connected. If you don't feel good in your body, it's going to affect how you feel, how you respond to things, how you react to things, your mindset and positivity. It does play a difference. The crazy thing is, I want you guys to be aware that when I'm talking about this, it does not have to mean, oh, the people that are overweight are feeling this way, the people that are skinny do not feel this way. Not true at all. At all. You can still be what appears to be a very healthy weight and just great physical shape, and your body can still be out of whack, which affects your mindset. My sister Anna is such an amazing example. Oh, I love her so much. And we work out 4 mornings a week, and her and I are on the different sides of things. She would love to gain weight. She would love it. And I'm working on maintaining and dropping a little bit more. And so when you see somebody and you think, oh man, they can't feel good, like they have to want, or they have to feel so amazing, and oh, they look so spectacular, they might not feel it. On the flip side, I have, the weight does not always determine either how you feel, right? So like you might have a few extra pounds on, but you are working on getting your gut healthy, on working on your mindset. You're working on all of it, and you might be in a great spot. So I just want you to be aware, perspective is powerful, right? And to keep that perspective, we so quickly are there to pass judgment on people. So just be aware of that in the back of your mind, to not be passing judgment on people. So back to just how I would feel and the exhaustion and here's the other big thing. And I man, it was tough. My emotions, like I talked about, were all over the place. I was the mom that would just lash out all the time. The smallest thing would set me over the edge. And I think there was multiple factors, right? Like I wasn't really happy where I was at in life. I was just sort of floating through life. I wasn't getting tons of sleep because I didn't feel good. I was frustrated with myself, so my mindset was off. And so I would just go angry super fast. And what's been really cool in this journey, and this is why I get so passionate about how living a life with purpose, how following the purpose effect can really change every area of your life. Because as I begin to recognize the power of watching my health, of being an active participation, let's change that. Instead of watching my health, being an active participant with my health and realizing there were so many ways to address it. And then now I have more energy now. There are still days I'm tired. It's not that I am like full energy all the time. I am still tired on at days because this is how it is. But it is like 80% better than it was. That's huge. That's huge. And so I have more energy, but I truly think like the most powerful thing for me has been my interactions with my family. I don't feel I'm all over the place. I don't feel like my anger is as explosive. It's just, I feel a lot steadier. I noticed if you pause and just look at your life, you will probably begin to see patterns. And one of those patterns is we go through cycles. And this is just my own thought, and maybe other people have thought this too, and it's out there, but this um, is we are cyclical, right? Like God created seasons in our world and our bodies also were cyclical. Women, we especially notice it because of just even our menstrual cycle, right? So our bodies go through it. Men, you have the same thing with going through cycles. It's just not maybe if you're not aware of it, but you maybe will have these like really good times and all of a sudden like and up and down, right? So we all have it. Here's what I've noticed. The more that I work on my health and connect it with my mindset and my spiritual life and growing in the Lord, my cycles have really changed. My attitude, my emotional cycles, right? Is I'm not, I used to have these, I would be, oh yeah, I'm great. And then just plummet for weeks. And then I would get a little bit better and then up, down, up, down. It is so the opposite now because I have been so intentional on this in my life is I have way more positive energy going and excitement and just go in a healthy way. And my lows are way shorter and not nearly as extreme. So the things that used to set me over the edge all the time don't even come into play anymore. It's the coolest thing. So how do we do this? How do you go from like just feeling exhausted, feeling yucky and just and no energy and not having focus, being all over the place, having crazy highs and lows in your emotions and in your attitude. How do we begin to shift that? And this is where I get really excited because there's so many little things that you can begin to do that will end up as you build consistency will end up becoming massive, massive. Okay. So how do we do that? How do we how do we take that? And here's some things I want you to really, really think about. When we walk out living a life of purpose, purpose isn't just spiritual or it isn't emotional. It affects your body, your energy, your decisions, your resilience. When your purpose is unclear, your body often carries the weight. We need to start with recognizing what's your purpose. And that's going to always be your driving force. That's going to be what is pushing you. That's when you have that why at the end, when you know this is what God has created me for, this is what I'm pushing for. And that is what's going to be pushing you. So you have to know your why and your purpose. And then from there, it's really digging into, okay, let's start with forming healthy habits. One of the things that I have done is for me, I take supplements. I have found some supplements that have changed my world. Not only mine, but many people around me that take them as well. And they have so profoundly impacted everything for me. Our primary focus with these supplements is gut health. And really, if you go back to the idea that your gut is like your second brain, if it's out of whack, everything else is going to be out of whack. So you really need to work on that. So I have found a pre and probiotic digestive enzyme that has been absolutely a game changer. In fact, all my family takes it. My kiddos that used to complain of their tummies hurting, which again, their physical health affected then because then they would get grumpy and then they would be frustrated and all that kind of stuff. So we begin to really work on their physical health and their gut health. Game changer. So getting supplements that help to really dial in some of those key areas very, very powerful. And not only that, one of the things that I talk to a lot about even with my customers is consistency. If you're not going to be consistent, it's not going to work. So you have to then build consistency through habits. And so let me talk for a few minutes about habits and how do we do that. One of the most powerful things is called habit stacking, and it is a just a powerful term where if you already have a habit in the morning, an example would be if you already take some kind of vitamin or medication or whatever in the morning, you add your supplements to it. You just add it to that routine. You are not creating a new routine. You are just adding to it. It's really awesome. The other thing is you want to make sure that whatever you take is conveniently located. You don't want to like hide it off where you have to go all the way down the hallway to your bathroom to take them because the chances of you forgetting it is pretty high. Or you might go, I don't have time to run down the hallway to get them. I'll remember it later. And guess what? You don't. So you have to have them readily accessible and easy to remind yourself. I also take some stuff that I have in the car with me. I put them in a little container and I have them wherever I go. So I eat them before meals. And that has been really important too, because it helps to go, okay, I got them. Let's take them. Let's take them. And I remember them really, really well. So you want to do that because that's just a key part of really doing it is one, I think getting healthy supplements. Make sure that you find a company that is notable. Do not, let me, do not just go to Walmart to buy your vitamins. Now, maybe there's a brand or two there that's fine. I don't think there is though. You get what you pay for. So please do your research because it's super important the supplements that you take. And we'll talk again more about this on Friday. No matter how healthy you eat, you will not be able to get all that you need from your diet. One of the key reasons for that is our soils have become so depleted in how we do farming that we do not have as many nutrients and density in that anymore. It just isn't there, right? So it's different than what our grandparents would have had. And because of that, what the tomatoes and the lettuce and all the fruits and veggies that they would have eaten 60, 70 years ago that were really good is different now. You don't have that. They're just not as nutritious. So we have to supplement. It is so powerful when you begin to do that because there's so many things that are missing no matter how healthy you eat. So finding a really, really good supplement is powerful, and it just really makes a big difference. Habit stacking them, showing consistency is powerful. The other thing that I really encourage you to is activity. What does that mean? So I work out 4 days a week. Now, for me, I am 7 years into it. And when I first started, I thought, oh, we'll see how long this lasts. And now here we are, 7 years. There are still days I don't want to do it. There are still days I don't want to go. So, what did I do? 3 years ago, I hired a personal trainer. I know that's not always an option for all of you, right? So, if you can't do that, if you can't afford that, then find a friend to go with you or somebody to help hold you accountable. I also have not only a personal trainer, but I go with my mom and one of my sisters, and we have another group of people that we meet with. They help hold me accountable because to make sure that I'm there. Because when I go at 5:30 in the morning, and there are days I don't want to go, but I know the value of it and I push through and I go. That is going to be so important to be. And if you can't go to the gym, if you can't find the time, just go for a walk. Just move your body. I know for me, I do a lot of my work on my phone or on the computer, and I am sitting a lot. So I have to be intentional to make some movement. I also know for me, I work out early in the morning. Evenings are not my jam. I'm a morning person. I know what works for me. And so I work out early in the morning before my day gets crazy and before I have any excuses that come up. Very rarely do I have things that conflict with a 5:30 workout time. So when can you make it work for you? And you will have to make it a priority. It's not just going to come naturally. In fact, there's studies out there. I remember hearing something about how it is good to have to push through and go to the gym even though you don't want to. In fact, it's almost better for your brain. There's like a certain part of your brain that like kicks into high gear and builds even stronger. The more you push into things that you don't necessarily want to do, but you know are so important to do it, and you push through anyways, and it's so good for you to do it. Just do it. Just do it, even if it's just a couple of days a week. The cool thing is when you begin to build these habits for taking supplements and vitamins and all that, when you begin to build habits of going regularly to the gym or regularly working out, what happens is your mindset begins to shift too. And you begin to understand that you can do it, that you can be consistent. One of the things that had been a big goal for me a couple years ago, I remember thinking, I just want to be one of those consistent people. I had always admired those that you would look at them and they just are always consistent. They always are there. They're committed to whatever it is that they're pursuing. And I was like, I want to be one of those. And now I look, I am one of those people. And so it keeps pushing me to keep going and building that, continuing that consistency. So my mindset has begin to shift because of that. And that's what's really cool is we are looking at you as a whole. And when you begin to work on all these at different areas, how really brings about this powerful movement in your life to keep pushing, to keep growing, to keep living with intention, right? So what we are doing in all of these things is we're going from living with a reactive mindset of like, oh, I just, everything that comes my way, then I respond to it. Everything that happens, and then I respond to it. And you live just reacting to every single thing. And what we're wanting to really show you guys by living it as an example is to live with intention and live proactively, that we go after the things instead of waiting for things to come after us, we go after it. It's so awesome what begins to happen. Remember, you guys, we weren't created by accident. We were created with intention. And when we live out of this alignment, live out of not walking through with purpose and intention, it builds up stress, burnout, disconnect, and it begins to show up physically. So, again, I want to just give you a few more powerful things that you guys can do. Habit building, right? Habit stacking, And then if you going to the gym, finding somebody to help hold you accountable, body movement of any kind is so, so powerful. How do we do this? How do we walk with consistency, right? And that goes back to let's dig in a little bit more to the why. Why are you, my purpose has become so much bigger than me that I need to stay healthy. And that purpose is also being a mom to my kids, being a wife to my husband, being an active community member. I have reached that I need to be healthy. I need to be able to focus. I need to have the energy that I need to get things done. And so my why is so big. And because of that, it helps to push me into going, it's worth taking care of myself. It's worth being healthy. And it just continues to fuel how to do that. So think, I think I've covered enough for you guys today. I think we're going to stop there. We are going to have some amazing guests in January, even hitting more on our physical health and how to really live it. Again, you got to be here for Friday with my sweet friend Jen Lori David, and I will be just visiting with her and asking her questions and digging deep into it. And it's just going to be a powerful, powerful one. I cannot encourage you enough that when you begin to live a life of purpose, things will shift. It might take a little while. You will have some growing pains. You will have moments of where you question, is it worth it? Is it worth pushing through? And I want you to know it is. It is worth every moment. And as you continue to push through it, you're putting powerful building blocks, foundational pieces down to strengthen the foundation as you walk out your purpose. The only change that's really going to occur, like if you are frustrated with your life, if you are discouraged, if you are just going, God, why, where are you? What is this all for? It takes work. It takes saying yes and committing to it, but it is worth it. You, my friend, are worth it. Okay, with that being said, you guys, thank you for listening to The Purpose Effect today. If today's episode spoke to you, share it with a friend, subscribe. We are on all major platforms, so definitely find us, share it. Help us spread this movement of purpose-driven living. And remember, you're called, you're capable, and you're created with intention. Now, go and live it. Thanks, you guys.